Hey folks, Deano here again. This time take a look at a figure that, like the Boba Fett, I have been looking for quite some time. And surprisingly enough, he's actually going down in price rather than up. So yeah, I thought now was the perfect time to get him. This is, according to Figuarts, Luke Skywalker as seen in The Mandalorian Season 2. But yeah, anyone who knows any of the small details knows that that's not the case. This is still a really good figure, but it's not what they're advertising. So, naughty naughty, Figuarts. Let's take a quick look at the box, shall we? So, I've noticed the box on this is slightly different to the ones that were reviewed last year, which leads me to believe this is a reissue. I got this off of Mandarake. For those of you who know, it's a Japanese store chain in Japan. They specialise in, like, in their eyes, pre-owned, but they're not. I mean, this figure was literally brand new in box. They advertised it as used damage box. I have yet to see any of the damage. But that's just the Japanese for you, I suppose. They're very nitpicky on details. So yeah, the box, standard Star Wars Figuarts box, even though I've not looked at one in a while. They've not changed. Only difference is the Bandai Namco logo up top, which, yeah, like I said, most of the reviews I've seen of this guy when he first released didn't have that on the top. So yeah, as you can see, Luke Skywalker, Mandalorian. I paid 5,500 yen for this. You can see on the sticker. Translates plus shipping to about 50 quid, which was really good going. Was really happy with that price. Yeah, some pictures on the back of Luke, one holding Grogu and R2 next to him. The Figuarts R2D2. But yeah, let's take a look at the figure now, or rather his accessories. So, as I said, it comes with a few accessories. Obviously comes with the cloak. We will talk about that in a moment. He comes with the lightsaber, which I'll attempt to get out of his hand right there. So there it is. The blade is extended on this one. You pop it out and replace the tips. So you've got the unignited one, which is quite good. It's even got the extra little bit at the top. Nice attention to detail there. Oh, dropped it. And it comes with a new effect, which I really like, is this one, where it looks as if he's swinging it. Really like that one. That's a nice effect. We should get that more often, even from Black Series. So yeah, at first glance, this looks like the exact same mold as, spoilers, this guy's, the original Return of the Jedi look. And yeah, at first glance it does seem the same. That one's just popped apart on me. So yeah, if you look there, there's some tiny extra details on the ignition switch, and even the same peg hole. In fact, the new one looks a little bit smaller. So yeah, slightly different paint apps on the new one. But the thing I found interesting is, because I've already tried this, the new swinging blade effect does not fit in the old hilt. Sort of wedges in there and starts popping the thing apart. Same with the new unignited piece, which is a bit strange. So yeah, you can actually see, if I pop these two apart, the original one has a thinner peg. The newer one, it's either the same peg, but they've painted it silver for whatever reason, and thickened the peg up. Or it is just, they've remoulded it. Which is a bit strange. I'm almost losing it there. Yeah, so they are slightly different, be that just via paint apps or what have you. But yeah, even with the added paint, this new one is a little bit loose compared to the old one. So yeah, it comes with a few pairs of hands as well. Fist, one gloved, one not, because obviously this is Luke during Return of the Jedi. Pair of relaxed hands, pair of force push hands, obviously one on him right now, as I've already played about with him. Pair of grippy hands. The gloved one is an open palm grip, whereas the ungloved is just a solid ring. And finally, you get one odd hand, which is mostly for him to like clasp his hands together, where he's just standing there menacingly. But yeah, that's all you get for accessories, which, I mean, it's still better than Hasbro. So yeah, let's pop in there and take a quick look at this thing. So yeah, the material's nice. The implementation of the hood is good. The way they've done it, you can really get it in any position. But Figuarts Tamashii, for whatever reason, didn't put a wire down the front, which means if you don't have it in like a swooshy pose, it's almost impossible to get it to lie flat, which is a bit of a shame, a bit of a pain in the backside. Once you do fiddle with it a little bit, it does do a really good job. Like, as you can see there, we'll get to that in a little second. But yeah, as you can see, the edges are really difficult to work with, because they do not want to lie down, because there's nothing forcing them down. So yeah, bit of a shame there. If you just want them standing in place, this hood is not for you. So yeah, an issue with mine, apologies it's so dark. If I pop that there, you can see the wire actually pops out. This isn't Mandaraki's fault by any means. They sold me a brand new in-box figure. This is a fault straight from the factory, which I haven't seen anybody else have an issue with. So I am unsure if that's because this is a reissue or what have you. But yeah, just something to keep in mind if you do get this guy. Watch the hood. Finally, let's take a look at Luke himself, shall we? So yeah, first things first, that head sculpt. Yeah, that's about as close to a Mark Hamill likeness as I think anyone will ever get. It's got that kind of uncanny valley look, but then that actually works with how uncanny valley he looked in The Mandalorian. They sorted it with the Book of Boba Fett version, but yeah, the The first look of him was a bit rough, to say the least. But that's not to say this guy doesn't look good. Only issue, as I alluded to before, is the fact that this isn't what he was wearing in The Mandalorian. This is what he was wearing, partly in Return of the Jedi. On the way to Jabba's palace, he had this minus the belt. He just had a sash around him. And then at the Ewok village, he was wearing this exact outfit. Thank Robo for that one. He pointed that out. But yeah, the Mandalorian, he had longer robes that went down about this far. And he had the sort of crisscross Old Republic style Jedi robes from before the Purge. So yeah, this is a really, really, really nice looking Luke Skywalker, but Tamashii clearly just repurposed a Return of the Jedi look that they were going to release and added a cloak to him and called it the Mandalorian to capitalise on the show. Because I'd like to imagine that Lucasfilm kept Luke's reveal very close to their chest, like to the point that no one knew that it was happening. So I very much doubt they would have told like Tamashii or that. So yeah, yeah, details are nice for what they are. You can also tell this is Return of the Jedi because of the sort of silver parts on his belt. In The Mandalorian, he had one on each side of the belt buckle, and that was it. This one has multiple, so there you go. And yeah, the reason I think this is a reissue and they tweaked some things is because the head, the seam line, is very, very hard to notice on my copy. You can just about see it from the top there, but on everyone else's copy of the figure, that was clearly noticeable, because of course it was meant to be removable. You can even see the hair is a separate piece, it's not just been sculpted. So yeah, another thing leading to this being a reissue is the head. Everyone else's popped off very easily. Mine's doesn't. Mine takes quite a bit of force to pop it on and off, which is a really good thing. I do appreciate that they fixed it. He is a bit loose in the legs though, compared to what anyone else has shown. So yeah, trade-offs I suppose. But yeah, moving on to that, articulation. You can look up but that far, look down that far. Arms are on a butterfly joint system, so they can come forward that much. Doesn't really help any. It looks better at the back because it's all covered, and it does go back slightly, not a whole lot. Can go out that far. Whole swivel. There is a joint at the top of the arm because of course there's no bicep cut. Single joint at the elbow, can get past 90, and hinge and swivel at the wrist. As others have pointed out, you can extend the peg to give you more range of motion, because otherwise they are quite buried quite far into the hands, or the hand socket. It doesn't have an ab crunch, but the waist more than makes up for it. You can go down that far, back that far, swivel. This is a floating piece with a separate flaps to give it a bit of depth. You can kick up about that far. I am not sure, are they pull down? They feel as if they may be, but they're sort of swapping between things. Single joint at the knee, gets past 90, and a hinge and swivel system at the foot, which can go down that far, up that far, toe articulation, and some very nice ankle pivot. This side is very loose though, so I'm going to have to be careful posing him with that. So yeah, yeah, let's get the other look in for a comparison. Let's see if I can. These are almost Mafex like in how annoying those hips are to get into position. You push one up, the other one goes down, sort of thing. So yeah, we have him there, and up until now is my current favourite look, which until I got this guy I thought that was a perfectly good likeness to Mark Hamill. Now I'm thinking differently. But yeah, this guy is a little bit pale, not as bad as people were making it out to be, but he is still a little bit. This guy's got a lot more colour to him, but he's also been dipped in gold, which I personally didn't mind too much, but I am happy that they've toned it down for this guy. It's more of a dirty blonde, which is what it should be. But yeah, absolutely no reuse between these two. Even the belt design is different, which is a bit strange. They could have got away with just reusing it, but not a single piece of this guy is the same at all. Like even the boots might look similar, but they're not. The old one just has a ball peg going into it instead of a hinge. So yeah, also noticed this guy either has a longer neck than I remember him having, or it's just very tight and I just can't get it back in. But yeah, definitely this new one blows the old one out of the water. I'm sorry. I did have the Rickhor outfit on that guy to make him look more like this guy. But now they've got this guy, like, I don't have much use for this one. So yeah, all in all, guys, if you can get him for as cheap as I found him, 100% go for it. That is a steal in my opinion. Like, I know there is a Mafex one coming out shortly, but Mafex to me always look a bit cartoony. Even the ones that are meant to be like realistic, they don't look realistic at all. I don't know what it is about their face printing, but yeah, 100%. If you don't mind the cloak hiding the fact that this guy isn't who he's supposed to be, he is an amazing Luke Skywalker figure, and I don't think anyone will ever beat that face print. I'll be honest. But yeah, guys, that'll do it for this review. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see y'all later.